Hello Star Wars fans, welcome to middle-aged Kiwi man collecting Star Wars figures. In this video I am so excited to have finally got my hands on one of these. It is the Vintage Collection Speeder Bike with Scout Trooper. Look at that. Beautiful packaging, we'll get into that. Now it's the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi this year, as you can see by the logo up there, and we'll get into that, but I'm just so happy about the way Hasbro is celebrating the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi and really helping us fill out our Endor diorama scenes, which I'm super pumped for. So let's get on and have a look at this. Okay, I want to get straight in and have a look, and first off, I'm so impressed by the box. And I've obviously seen a ton of images online, and I've watched videos and all the rest of it, and I know lots of people have got this already, but I still can't help be impressed. I think it looks magnificent. I love the art on there, the photography. On the top there you've got him having a look under the engine, another shot of him riding around on Endor. On the back you can see I've got the import sticker there, got that from Gary Mark Missing in Taiwan, and phenomenally he posted this on Friday New Zealand time. Friday evening he messaged me to say he was posting it. Arrived today, Tuesday morning, so pretty phenomenal. On the bottom there, nothing, which is cool. On the side, another image, and then that's a cool one of the Biker Scout just relaxing. I have to double check, I think maybe Matthew Cohen Shooting the Galaxy did the box art for this. And just one more thing before I open it up is this cardstock is so thick. We've come a long way from the thin cardstock that was on the Vintage Collection figures. I did see on Boss Bounty the other day that the retro collection figures, which I don't collect, that they are on very thin cardstock. Anyway, let's open this up. It's over there. Oh, and you can see how it comes in the tray, and looky at that beautiful Biker Scout, or sorry, Scout Trooper it's called now. Get the Kenner style instructions, and shot of all the features. And the tissue paper, we have the speeder bike itself, and we have this awesome stand. Look, I know that some people have said, why did Hasbro waste tooling dollars on a new speeder bike when we've got this other one? Well, first, the other one was not widely available. I wasn't collecting at the time. It was also a Toys R Us exclusive. It's phenomenally expensive. It's a nice sculpt, yep, but let's also be honest. This is an amazing flight stand with 3 different riding positions. The one that came with that previous Toys R Us exclusive is a ludicrous bike stand. It sits way too high, and nowhere ever in the movie do you see the speeder bikes flying along that high. Anyway, this is a positive review, so I'll leave that rant there and we'll just get on with it. Okay, before I get into the details of the bike, which looks phenomenal by the way, we have to acknowledge this card back. So the Biker Scout or Scout Trooper was one of my top 25 for the Vintage Collection March Madness last year. It wasn't on my list this year because obviously we knew this is coming, and this just looks absolutely phenomenal. That card art is brilliant. I love that photo. Scout Trooper now instead of Biker Scout. The figure looks magnificent in there. It's unpunched, and I've got to say the Hasbro packaging team has done a wonderful job. As I said before, the cardstock on the outer packaging is really thick. And this is beautifully placed inside with cardboard all around it so the bubble doesn't get squashed. And yeah, and the speeder bike just sits beside it, so that's so cool. Have a look on the back. It's VC273, and you can see some of the other upcoming figures. Really looking forward to that Phase 2 Clone Trooper in particular, and the Imperial officers. But yeah, that is an absolutely phenomenal card back, and that's just come in perfect condition. I'm going to open it for this review because I've got about 4 of these on order, but it's going to be painful to open this, I'll be honest. And just focusing on the speeder bike now, I really love the paint deco. There's all kinds of scratches and dirt and grime and stuff on the front of it in particular. This flight stand, you can do it in 3 heights, and it clips nicely into like a ball at the bottom of the bike, and you can actually have it on a tilt and stuff like that, so you can move it around. Heaps of versatility. Underneath, again, there's some good weathering. This gun doesn't swivel, but I'm okay with that. It's got nice detail for the engine, and I think one of the other controversial things is there's no peg hole for this, but the designers did explain why they did that. You can flip this up and there's an engine inside. Could have done with just a little bit of silver fleck on there, would have looked pretty cool, but you're not going to see that anyway. And then the other thing that people have said is that because the handlebars, you can unclip that from there and move them, but otherwise they're in a pretty stationary position. But yeah, it looks really, really cool. Flaps are independent now. And then the satchel is removable somehow. Anyway, I'll just leave it there for now. Very, very cool. Just wanted to check out the different stand heights. That's the highest height, medium height, and low height. And as I said before, it's on a ball, so you can click it in quite firmly and then have it on a lean as well, which is a pretty cool feature. I love this flight stand. It's fantastic. Let's have a look at that card back again. It looks fantastic, especially with that 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi logo on the top left. That wonderful iconic card back image. Return of the Jedi, it's unpunched. 4+, yep, I'm definitely over 4 years old, which is good. And then on the back there, VC273 with some of the other figures in the wave. And we're now up to the point of the video which I was really dreading, and that is opening this minty, minty, minty figure. Okay, here is our Scout Trooper. Straight out of the packet. One of the things straight away is I went to bend his elbow and the wrist kind of bent. So one of the criticisms of this figure is he's got a swivel, but it's so close to his elbow. It's a glove swivel rather than a wrist swivel. He does have decent articulation at the elbows, shoulders. It's a ball. Can pop out a bit. You can get him to pop out quite far actually. The helmet is a massive upgrade. That's the biggest upgrade to this figure, I think. He's got like an ab crunch. He doesn't have a waist swivel, and he's got some hips that pop out, so that'll be necessary for him to ride the bike. And that's about 45 degrees to his knee. And the other upgrade to this is the addition of the rocker ankles, which should help him sit on the bike too. I'll bring in another couple of figures to show you where he comes from. So this guy here is a Gaming Greats Vintage Collection figure, so I've just given him a pulse rifle and taken off his other bit, so he had that hip upgrade. And then this one here I believe is from the 3.75 inch black series, so it's a little bit older, and he just has the swivel hips. So yeah, he has swivel hips, normal ankles. So if I've got that right, this one was upgraded to this one with an improvement in the hips, and then this one has new helmet and the rocker ankles. And you can see there the older two Scout Troopers, their heads are very, very small, so the new one is much better in that regard. Okay, so there it is. I got him in a riding pose, and eventually, so you can see there his feet aren't quite flush on the pedals, and his bum doesn't quite hit the seat, and he's a little bit wonky. And there are a couple of things that annoyed me doing this. One is the hips. The hips are the worst. So they, unlike those new hips with just like a real natural range of movement, you actually have to fiddle with them a bit to turn them before you pull them out, to even get approximately close to being able to get his legs, his thighs forward, and then his lower legs back like that. And the other thing is this, I don't know, I'm not sure it's a necessary feature, this whole, you know, with the engine underneath. Like, it's nice, but how often are you going to display it with the engine underneath? And the reason I say that is because you're trying to get his feet there, you're trying to get his hands lined up, you're trying to get him in a nice posture, and there's a bit of tension in the figure, and then this starts to ride up because it doesn't clip down. So that is a little bit annoying. So if you can see there, he's kind of sitting, but then that's up. If I push that down, then he's no longer sitting. So yeah, all in all though, once you get him there, he looks absolutely fantastic. In comparison with what he's replacing, the Power of the Force 2 one, As you can see, the Vintage Collection one just looks phenomenally better. The other one just sags and sits low. I think I quite like this brown as well compared to that brown. But yeah, overall, again, it looks great as a display piece. Here's my Power of the Force 2 lineup of speeder bikes, and I still think this looks really cool. When I get a couple more of the Vintage Collection ones, I'd like to replicate this lineup. But in the meantime, let's have a look and see how the new modern vintage Luke and Leia Endor figures go on the new speeder bike. Well, I had to check and see how Paplu can ride the Vintage Collection speeder, and you can see, because his articulation is not so great, you can't really get his hands close enough together. So I've got one on the vertical kind of control and one on the horizontal control, and that seems to work okay, so that's all good. Okay, finally I get why people were mad about this Endor Leia. She has swivel hips, which means it's basically impossible to get her sitting on the speeder bike properly. And boy, that's an awkward brother-sister pose there on the speeder bike. That's about as good as I can get it. Yeah, a little bit of a shame. If you pull those little handles out of the holes though, you can get a better kind of a look with Leia though. So there we go. Overall, I love it. I think it's a fantastic piece. It's going to look awesome in your diorama. Is it perfect? Definitely not. The highlights for me are the stand and also the new helmet and the way it's on that kind of double barbell, I guess, so that you can get a really good, he can be crouched down but looking up is fantastic. The things that slightly annoy me are just the lack of any decent hip or thigh articulation. Really is a pain to get him into a crouching position. Not as fun as it should be. And then this opening engine cover here, as I said before, it can be a bit of a pain. It can lift up and all the rest of it. But anyway, I'm really happy to have this. I've got another 3, I think, coming. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm middle-aged Kiwi man collecting Star Wars figures. Ka kite, and I'll see you on another video.